I'm plugging in, stand by.
Reload. Check and make sure we are indeed live. And there we are. And then I'll do a quick sound check. Okay, we are good.
We pulled it off.
All right. We'll give a few minutes for everyone to join us here. So we're going to be doing some moving around a little bit here in the studio. So the camera guy will be panning in and out, so don't get seasick there from the motion of the camera. He'll be doing some moving around here. We are limited on space in here, so ordinarily I'd do this out in the lab where there's more room, but the inspectors are all still here inspecting parts, and makes it a little tough to try to work around those guys trying to do their job. We don't want to interrupt them from doing their job because they're inspecting the parts that you buy and you get to put on your AR. So we don't want to interrupt what they're trying to do out there, making sure that we continue to make quality parts. So we'll give a minute here, see if anybody joins us. We got one person here so far, looks like. Oh, we got another person joined us. We can't wait too long to get started, but I always like to make sure there's a few people in here to feel like I'm actually talking to somebody. So since Russ has got a new job, he doesn't get to watch the videos till later. Hi, Angie. So we'll go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and take a look at something we haven't played with in a little while. It's probably, I guess it's been over a year since we've even pulled this thing out and messed with it. I had to charge the batteries and get everything set here. We bought this, we got this unit back when COVID was strong and ammunition was impossible to get, and it was extremely expensive. It's still expensive, but just not extremely expensive, right? We saw 223 at $1 a round, 9mm at $1 a round, and that was if you could even get it. So price of ammo has come down, makes it a little easier to want to go out shooting. But this is a nice thing. It's a nice thing to have in your arsenal. You want to get a little time in on the weekends, on a cold, snowy day, sitting in the house, whatever. This is the Mantis laser training system. It's the Mantis X10, and then we also have the Laser Academy with the Blackbeard system. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at all the components here. So this is the Mantis, the heart of the Mantis training system, and this is laser to infrared. I'm not sure, it's not laser, but it's tied to your phone, right? You download the phone app on your phone and it tells the two communicate, and it tells your phone what you're doing when you're shooting. Now it mounts very easily to any standard Picatinny, right? It just clips right on there. Okay, and then you go to the Google Play Store, your Apple Play Store, and you download the Mantis system, the Mantis apps, and we have Mantis X, and then we have the Mantis Laser Academy. So for this, we're going to work with the Mantis X at first, and I'm going to show you how this thing works. So once you've got it mounted, and you can mount it in the frontwards or backwards configuration, it doesn't matter, and it snaps in place. Okay, if you don't have a Picatinny on your gun, they make a Picatinny section that you can glue on the bottom of your magazine, or they make an adapter that goes around a barrel of, say, a shotgun or something like that, that has a Picatinny on it that you can mount this thing to. So then you go ahead and you turn the unit on. You'll see this green light starts flashing. Okay? All right, everybody can see that green light. Okay? So then you open up your Mantis app and you hit connect. Now you're going to have to lay the gun down on a stable surface. It needs to be non-moving, right? It needs to be stationary and no movement in order for it to pick it up and calibrate it, okay? Because it senses motion. So when it calibrates, it wants to sense no motion, okay? Now there's all kinds of things you can do here. There's drills. Let's see here if I can... Right, we got open training, shot timer, 20-second timed benchmark, compressed surprise break, primary hand, support hand, reload drills, cadence drills. You know, there's just a ton of different drills you can do here, and you can even join leagues online and Facebook, and they have all kinds of stuff that you can do. We are just going to do a session of open training, okay? So what this does is it senses what you're doing when you're pulling the trigger, and it gives you instant feedback. So it tells you, you know, are you using too much trigger finger, not enough trigger finger? Are you pushing? Are you pulling? You know, the different aspects of what happens when you're shooting. So we're going to go ahead and first thing I'm going to do, make sure, right, my gun's empty. It does need a magazine in it in order for it to fire. So we always, right, double, triple check that we make sure that our gun is empty. Okay, we don't need a round going through the living room wall. So we hit start, and then, okay, so we come up and we pick a target. Now, without a trigger reset system for this, you have to... It's recording my shots. Okay, that's 10 shots. Now I hit stop. Now my average score is 86.5. Okay, if I go over here, it tells me what each shot was, right? I got 89, 89, 86, 71. Who had a bad one there? 84, 89, 90, 79, not a great one, 98 and 85. So my average score was 86.5. When you look at the red around here and you click on it, it tells you what you're doing. Okay, so this is telling me predominantly that I was pushing forward. So as I'm shooting, I'm throwing the gun forward. Okay, that was probably my next biggest was too little trigger finger. Okay, so I was using the tip of my finger instead of using the meat of my finger. When you use the tip of your finger, it tends to want to pull as you use too little, right? See, I'm exaggerating here, but and then when you use too much, it wants to push the other way, okay? So too little or too much trigger finger, you want to use the meat of your trigger finger and pull straight back, okay? Keeping the gun steady. Let's see what else we got here. We got a tightening the fingers, gripping too tight, okay? So this just gives you that instant feedback of the different things that you might be doing wrong. There's another one where I was pulling up, okay? So this, you know, it tells you the things you need to work on to have better form when you're pulling. Now, obviously, you're not getting the recoil. You're not getting all of the stuff that comes with actually firing a gun. This is, you know, pretty much telling you trigger press, right? You can go in here and each individual shot, you can map what you did, okay? The blue is leading up to the trigger press, so you know you're moving around a little bit. yellow is where you started your trigger press. Now your trigger press always starts at bullseye, right? Your trigger press, they're assuming that you're always on bullseye when you start your trigger press. And where did you end up when the gun finally fired? When the trigger finally broke over, how far away from where you started were you? And that's what that yellow line is measuring. And then the red is measuring, or I'm sorry, the red is measuring the before the shot, the blue is measuring after the shot. And you can see how I went so far off the scale on the blue, and that's because I was pulling the gun down and resetting the trigger every time. So that's why there's an extreme amount of blue movement there. If you have a laser or a trigger resetter in here, one of the dry fire magazines, something like that, then this thing, you'll lose a lot of that blue. Okay, so really a handy little tool. You can go through each shot and see exactly what each shot did, you know, what your best shot was, what your worst shot was, and how much. Hey, let's see, what was my worst shot? I said it was a 70 something, right? 71. So I was 1, 2, 3, I was 4 rings out of bullseye when it finally broke over and pulled to the left. So that's me, you know, the different things that I was doing wrong, pushing the gun, breaking over the trigger. So, but yeah, let's we'll run through another one of those real quick just so you can open training. Let's see if I can do a little better this time, if I concentrate. That was a bad one. So my average score was 88.8. It picked up a couple of points. And I had a 96 in there. Oh, I had a 98.4 in there. And my worst one was my last shot at 78.7. So a little better, right? And then it gives you the time between each shot, 5.5 seconds, 5 seconds, 4.2 seconds. So you also have a timer, right? You can see, you know, if I... Now this is a Taurus, and I don't have to reset this every time. It will fire every time I pull the trigger. You just don't have the wall, right? It's just a full tight pull. It's full poundage on the full pull. So I'm going to go ahead and just do that and see kind of as fast as I can. So I had an 81, an 81, an 86, an 89, an 81, an 88. And my last one was a 57. That's terrible. But you can see, right, 0.57 seconds, 0.98 seconds, 0.46 seconds, 0.35 seconds. So I was really hitting the trigger fast, right? Under about a third of a second between every trigger press. So really a cool little thing it gives you a lot of feedback. So let's see, what was I doing wrong here? Breaking wrist up, okay? That was my major problem there. Then my next was too little trigger finger again. Right, I'm not getting enough trigger finger in there. Let's see if I can rectify that. Get a little more meat on there. So yeah, it was worse. Started out good, but yeah, I had some rough ones in there. Let's see what now I'm healing, okay? So I'm pulling the gun down as I'm anticipating recoil, even though there is no recoil with this. And now I got too much trigger finger, so I put too much finger in there. So it's finding that happy medium, right? But a great tool to tell you kind of what you're doing wrong and force you to work on the logistics of the basics of pistol marksmanship. So that's that unit. That's the Mantis X10. You can buy that unit for about $200, $250. Okay. And you can use it on a rifle, you can use it on a pistol, you can use it on a shotgun, you can use it dry fire, you can use it live fire. There's just a host of ways you can use it and a ton of drills you can do with it. You know, it's not just doing what I was doing right there. You know, you can do draw from a holster. It does all kinds of drills. And when you join the leagues, you can get patches and all kinds of, you know, have all kinds of fun with it. Okay, the next thing we want to look at is the other side of this, and that is the Blackbeard system for the AR. So this is the battery pack that drives the unit. We'll go ahead and pull this unit out of here and let you have a look at it. Looks like a bolt carrier group, and what this does is it's a trigger reset. Okay, you can see right there, as you activate the trigger, it resets the trigger every time you pull the trigger. Okay, so it's kind of cool. You don't have to manually operate anything. And you'll hear it when listen close. Okay, so it's cycled. And the other thing this thing does is, I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, okay, you can see it. My batteries. Okay, it's got a laser. All right, so it's a laser training system. It also comes with its own app, and this is the Mantis Laser Academy. And again, there's just a ton of drills you can do. I'm going to go ahead and pop this out while I talk about it for a minute and tell you some different things. There's a ton of drills you can do with just a multitude of targets. Okay, hunt target where you're looking for the numbers, the shapes, the colors, you know, your standard silhouette targets, IPSC targets, bullseye targets, more silhouette targets, headshot targets, hostage, okay, dot torture, FBI qualifying target. Then you have your start and stop and your control target, okay? This is the target that'll be up there. You know, if you want to swing by over here and show them what we got going on over here. So you've got your control target where you start and stop the unit, where you clear it or close it, and then you have your target. You know, with this you can also, okay, if you want to swing back over here to me, you know, you can put up two targets, right? You know, you got two of the same target and you put them up side by side and your buddy has one of these units, right? You can do competitions against each other, side by side shooting. Now, we are in here at about, what, 7 feet? Okay, so you're probably, you know, this is a little close for but for, you know, for demonstrating it, I'm going to show you how this thing works. We've used it out here in the lab where, you know, we've gone out to 20 yards with this laser, 25 yards, and it's read it just fine. So it's a nice tight laser. It doesn't fan out real wide, so it still stays on the target pretty good, and it reads very well even at a little bit of distance. All right, so we'll show you how this works. I'm going to do open shooting, single target. Why won't it? Okay. it's not, let me close the app down here. All right, give me 1 second. I had to do this earlier. I had to restart my phone. It got locked in some kind of loop where it didn't want to work. Now, I don't know if that's a function of my phone. When my other phone, it never did this. But restart. You know the old standard, right? Trying to unplug it, plug it back in, start and restart. The IT guy always tells you, did you try to restart it? Yes, that's the first thing I did. That's the first thing I always do. We've learned that over the years, right? The guy in India that you get on the phone with is going to ask you if you started it, stopped it and restarted it. So you just do it first, and then they'll want you to try it again anyway. All right. Okay, phone is starting. And we will go back to our app now. Laser Academy, open shooting, single target. There we go. Okay, so what you do is you put this, like I said, you put it on your phone and you place this in some kind of stand. They sell a stand if you need one. I just designed up my own little stand here to, and I'm going to get myself set up here with this. And what it does is it's recognizing the target. Okay, you can hear it. It kind of sounded like it was shooting and sounded like a round hitting the floor, right? Kind of a cool thing. All right. So like I said, we're only about 7 feet here, maybe 5 foot, 6 foot. I don't know by the time you factor in the length of the gun. All right. But what we're doing is just kind of simulating what's going to happen here at a further distance. So we're going to clear. Okay. You heard it reset. Now we're going to start. Timer counts down. Okay. We'll go ahead and pull this out. Now you can see I shot 11 rounds actually. I double shot that last one. So it's telling you, showing you where you hit on each one of the targets up there. It's giving you your split times, right? 6.69 seconds, 0.84 seconds, 0.71 seconds, 0.8 seconds. My fastest one was 0.6 seconds, and I hit all 10 of my targets in 7.66 seconds. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll set this back up here. I'll go ahead and reset this thing. Yeah, go ahead and, all right, so Craig has moved the camera around. Hold on, I'm not shooting yet, it's just calibrating itself. Okay, so you'll see my laser hit the clear. Okay, now I'm going to start. Okay. Now we'll pull this out again. I did miss one right there. Number 2, I was just a hair. You can see the black ring tells me that I missed number 2. Okay, so I hit 9 out of my 10 targets in 6.06 seconds with a fastest split time of 0.49 seconds. So, yeah. Pretty cool, right? You don't get, like I said, you're not getting the recoil You're not getting some of the other stuff that happens when you're actually shooting. And again, this is for form and function, right? If you want to try shooting really fast, you want to have competitions with your buddy on a rainy day, you know, you're sitting around having a few beers. You can't have beers out at the range, right? You know, alcohol and guns don't mix, but you're not shooting. You're dry firing, right? So if you want to sit around and have a few beers in the afternoon with your buddies in the garage and have a little competition, have some fun, this is a nice way to, you know, get a little practice in, get a little training in, and have a little fun. Pretty cool system. It's the Mantis X10. The Mantis X10 is the unit that works with any firearm. I've even seen guys mount these to a bow, and you know, they can work on their form with a bow. And then you have the Blackbeard system, which is the battery pack and the trigger reset for the AR platform rifle. It's a little wonky with drop-in triggers. It depends on the profile of the hammer. If your profile of your hammer is a little thinner than a standard trigger, this is designed for a mil-spec trigger, so it resets a mil-spec trigger very well. It's hit or miss with drop-in triggers. It all depends on the profile of the hammer. The thicker the cross profile of the hammer, the better off you're going to be. So just be aware that if you have a drop-in trigger, this thing can be a little, the reset can be a little hinky. But yeah, that's it. I'm going to turn this red dot off, because if I don't forget and I don't turn it off, I'll come back in a week and my battery will be dead. So, and you can turn the laser, right? You can use this thing even as a bore sighter, right? Because you can turn the laser on full time. Okay, so now you know you're sighting in, and you want to set your scope or your red dot or whatever it is. You know, you have now the ability to use this as a bore sighter. So, and that's just done right here with this little, you can turn it on, you can turn it off, and you got a full-time laser, or you got the laser that only activates when it's fired. So it's a nice, handy little tool to have for any AR that takes a standard bolt carrier group. This will bore sight anything. It's not caliber specific. So. Make sure that is okay. The trigger is reset. Pull that out. So that Blackbeard unit with the battery pack is going to run you about another $250. All in for the whole unit, you're looking at about $500. So, you know, it seems like, oh yeah, $500 is a lot for, well, you know, $500 in ammo can go pretty quick at the range, right? That can be an afternoon at the range if you really get ripping. So, you know, this is a nice thing to have in your arsenal, in your backup, rainy days, cold, snowy days when you'd like to get out and do a little shooting, but maybe you can't. You can just sit in the living room watching a little TV and do some training. Drive the wife crazy. I was doing this over in the office the other day, and I was over in my cubicle and I was shooting, and the sound, you get the sound of the casing, you know, the gun shooting and the casings hitting the floor, and our one secretary, she's like, what is going on over there? So, yeah, they have shooting zombies, right? They got all kinds of crazy targets. You go on to the website there, they got all kinds of crazy different targets that you can do fun stuff with. And you know, like I said, I haven't tried it yet because I don't know anybody else who has one, but you know, the being able to shoot against your buddies, right? If he's got a unit, you got a unit, you put up 2 targets, and you know, you got a control target, and you each have your phone, right? It's set up, and you can do it with one phone too. You can do multiple targets on one phone and it'll split them. So pretty cool system. Last I heard, and I have not seen it hit the market yet, is that Mantis was working on a scenario trainer kind of like the police use, law enforcement uses, where you know, it's different scenarios, hostage scenarios or shoot don't shoot scenarios. You know, is the person coming around the corner? Are they holding a cell phone, or are they holding a gun? You know, and you have split seconds to decide. You know, those kind of scenario systems, or a hostage scenario where a guy's got a knife, and you know that 1 second where he takes the knife away, and right, you've got that split second to make that decision to shoot or not. Those different types of scenarios. So that'd be pretty cool. And that's done through your phone and projected. They have a little. They're going to have a little projector, and it's going to project the scenario up on the wall, and it uses the laser engagement system, the Mantis Blackbeard system, as the recognition for shooting. So that would be really cool. I think a scenario trainer would be most cool. We'll look forward to that coming out and hitting the market. So, yeah. That is the Mantis X10 system and the Blackbeard AR reset system. Again, works with the Blackbeard works with any AR platform rifle that takes a standard magazine, any standard AR lower, and any standard AR bolt carrier group. And the Mantis X10 works with any gun, shotgun, rifle, pistol, whatever it might be. You can use it to tell you a lot of stuff. And you know, safe, secure training range. Yeah, that has the scenario. Okay, is that the Mantis scenario equipment? I don't know if I didn't know it was out yet. I'd be interested to try that. To make a trip over to Pittsburgh and see my buddy Russ. I got some parts I could drop off for him, and we could go to the range. We got to get together this fall and go hunting, Russ. Do a little deer hunting. All right, so yeah, that's it. That's the Mantis laser training system, dry fire training system, and live fire. It'll do it all. It'll tell you what you're doing, even under live fire. So highly recommend. There's different units out there. You know, you don't have to buy the Mantis, but you know, it's a nice thing to have, any of the laser training systems. So pick one up and have some fun with it. So appreciate you guys. We're probably going to take a look back. We're going to the NRA show. We leave Thursday morning, Craig and I do, to go over to Indianapolis to the NRA annual meeting. And we're going to spend the weekend over there. I'm going to try to get around a little bit and see some cool stuff, see some new stuff. I definitely want to check out the new straight wall cartridge. Henry's got some new rifles coming out. The 360 buck something. 360 buck. I can't think of the name of it, but they got a new straight wall cartridge coming out. Henry's making the rifles for it, and Remington's making the ammunition. 360 buck something. Now I gotta look it up. Now I forced myself to. 360 buck hammer. That's what it is. The 360 buck hammer. BHMR. Semi-standardized, straight-walled, intermediate rifle cartridge developed by Remington Arms. The cartridge is designed to use in American states that have specific regulations for deer hunting with straight-wall center-fire cartridges. The parent case is the 30-30 Winchester. So I definitely want to check that out. And I've been wanting a Henry. I don't own a Henry. I've been wanting one forever. So I might just have to break down and buy me a 360 buck hammer. So, all right. I'll see you guys next Tuesday, and we'll talk about the NRA show, and maybe I'll have a little gaggle pack of swag here to give away. So, my wife was listening. My wife was on, and she heard that. Buy a new gun. She's like, Well, you know, come on. So, you're not supposed to be listening in. All right, so we'll see you guys next week. We're going to talk about the NRA show, and like I said, if I can get around and pick up some swag, I'll have some stuff, maybe some hats and stickers and different stuff to give away. So, all right, we'll see you guys next week. Remember, you don't have to be an expert to build your own AR, to upgrade it, maintain it, or train with it. We're here to help you do that. Thanks. We'll see you guys. Just hit the blue stop where it says end. Isn't there a blue?
No, I don't see one.
New camera guy.